If you're struggling to find really good UK property investment deals, honestly, you are not alone. The problem is, everyone's kind of chasing those same levels of deals, aren't they? But in today's video, I want to show you the very best way to find UK property investment deals that stack up. And my focus is always going to be those properties where I can ideally put my money in and pull my money back out again as quickly as I possibly can. Because the truth is, there are smarter ways to find incredible deals, and you don't need a big budget to be able to do so. So in this video, I want to show you some simple, practical, and kind of beginner-friendly ways that you can find incredible deals in your investment area. But the first thing I have to say before we get into all that kind of sexy stuff is the most important thing from the outset is that you have a really clear understanding on what your strategy is. What is the investment strategy that you're going for? Is it buy to let? Is it flipping deals? Is it the BRRRR strategy? Is it HMOs? Is it serviced accommodation? Is it holiday lets? You need to know, because that criteria is going to mean you're looking for certain things. So if it's buy to let, you're looking for stable rents. If it's BRRRR, you're obviously looking for properties where you've got the potential to refurb. If it's HMOs, you're looking for places where there's a huge rental demand for rooms. And frankly, in some areas of the country, there's an oversupply. So you need to know what your strategy is first. Otherwise, I think you're wasting your time. A clear strategy makes finding and assessing deals much, much, much easier. So let's get into the good stuff. First off, I'm going to start off with the really obvious one, and that's using online platforms. But there's a clever way to do this. So obviously here we're talking about Rightmove, Zoopla, On the Market, this kind of thing. So let's start off with some really obvious observations first of all. So you're obviously going to check new listings when they come on that meet your strategy, don't forget. You're going to check out those new listings. But then you're going to go and check out those properties that have been on the market for in excess of 3 to 6 months. Why? Because often those people are a little bit more open or a little bit more flexible in either the money that they'll accept or the way in which you construct the deal. You also want to watch out for price drops, because what does that tell you? Well, it tells you that the seller's getting a little bit more motivated. Look out for what I refer to as bad listings. By that, I mean I'm talking about adverts where there's maybe one image and only of the outside. Maybe it's a blurred photograph. Maybe it's like all capital letters in the description. I mean, how amateur is that? Maybe it's an agent that's outside of the area. So is he going to want to come along and show you a walk around of this property if he's 2 hours drive away? Probably not. Look out for bad listings. I also suggest look out for what I refer to as ripple towns. So, for example, look at Dudley rather than Birmingham, for example. And you're always going to want to offer on pretty much everything where you think there's an opportunity, because frankly, you're going to maybe offer 10 to 20 times to maybe get one offer accepted. One other little tip on this one. Have you ever heard of a kind of a Rightmove extension called Patma? That's Patma. It's a great little add-on. It's completely free, and it will show you all the price movements over the previous years on any given property. So it's really worth adding that to your Chrome browser extension, if assuming you're using Chrome. If you're not using Chrome, why not? I think it's the best browser out there. Anyway, going off track. The next one is really where I think all the gold lies, and it's the one that I always really, really push people to do, and that's to go direct to seller. Now, there's loads and loads and loads of different ways that you can put yourself directly in front of the seller. Way too many ways to actually kind of cover in this video. However, there's a couple of quick things here. I honestly think you should be writing letters to older listings, people that have been on the market for, say, 6 months. Write them a letter. What have you really got to lose? And there are lots of ways that you can automate this task, so you're not sitting there for 12 hours a day typing out the letters. No. You want to automate the task so that it keeps your workload down, because you should be spending your time going out to see and walk around more opportunities. Targeted Facebook ads are just gold. You really need to get good at Facebook advertising, because there's so many ways that you can absolutely target the exact type of seller that you want and put your message in front of them. I know this is really old-fashioned. Leaflet drops. They still work. If they don't still work, for anyone that's thinking, "No, they don't, that's yesterday's." If they don't work, why is it that every estate agent in the land does leaflet drops? Are they just really old-fashioned? They don't understand the way of marketing these days? No. Estate agents do leaflet drops because they work, because they are effective. There are ways to do it very, very effectively, and, again, probably haven't got enough time to go into that in the scope of this video, but leaflet drops still work if they're targeted. Don't blanket an area, work out the specific roads that you want to buy in, and that's where you're going to be leafleting again and again and again. Anyway, purple bricks is another brilliant way to get directly in front of the seller, because anyone that's advertising via purple bricks, well, you're going to be speaking directly to the seller. Direct to seller is always going to be better, in my opinion, because frankly, how can I put this kindly? There's no agent between you and the seller. It gives you an opportunity to negotiate great deals for you, but also often deals that work really well for the seller as well, especially when you could be a little bit creative in the way that you put that deal together. My next one is another real, perhaps obvious one, but again, it's such a successful way of doing this, and that is to build really strong, close relationships with not just estate agents, but also letting agents as well. Estate agents seems fairly obvious, but let's just talk about letting agents for a moment. Letting agents can be a real gold mine. Why? Well, if you think about it, they're actually managing landlords, aren't they? They're managing landlords' properties, to be specific, some of whom want to sell. Now, who do you think the landlord tells first when they're thinking about selling? Well, they're going to tell the letting agent, aren't they? Because maybe they're wanting to see if the letting agent knows someone. Well, that somebody should be you, frankly. And the great thing about dealing directly with landlords is that they are often very open to doing something a little bit creative in the way that they construct the deal. So maybe you're not simply buying it outright. Maybe you're doing some kind of a long-term strategy, which again kind of falls outside of the scope of this particular video. But estate agents and letting agents, they are just brilliant places to find really good opportunities if you form this kind of really soulful connection with the agent, which is absolutely possible, especially, and another quick tip for you here, if you're dealing with independent agents, in my opinion. Yes, you're going to offer them a finder's fee, almost certainly, but perhaps more importantly and more professionally, you're going to actually offer them to keep on managing that property. Because again, if you think about it, let's imagine a landlord goes to a letting agent and says, "You know what, Mr. Letting Agent, I'm going to be selling this property." Well, if they're going to sell the property, that letting agent has just lost all of the ongoing business on that property, haven't they? Maybe they could have managed it for 10 more years. Think about all of the income that would have generated for that letting agent. But now it's going to be sold probably to somebody who's going to live in it, maybe. Well, that letting agent's just lost all of those fees. So why wouldn't they want to work with you? It's a different way of looking at things, isn't it? You're obviously going to be polite, you're going to be professional, and here's another really big tip for you. And people always say you can't do this, but I've done it loads of times. And that is, you want to get outside of the office with the agent. You want to go and meet them up for coffee. So yeah, you could obviously organize a viewing. You could have a chat. Maybe you do the viewing around the lunchtime kind of period, and you say to them, "Look, have you got like 20 minutes? Maybe I'll buy you a quick cup of coffee and a nice Danish. Come on, there's a place just over there." I know it sounds ridiculous, and I know it maybe sounds a little bit cheesy, but I've done it loads of times, and it's the one way that you can build a fantastic relationship with an agent, partly because suddenly you've taken all of the business stuff out of the equation, and they might have a little chat about something that's happening in their own lives, and it gives you a chance to connect. But more importantly, they haven't got all of the other little agents and their manager in the office looking over their shoulder. If you build a good relationship with an agent, it's going to work brilliantly for them. It could work brilliantly for you as well. But most important of all, they're going to think of you first when that absolute diamond opportunity is put in front of them on their desk. And by the way, never forget 1 in 3 deals fall out of bed. So don't you want to be on the end of the phone when that agent thinks of you because that property's just fallen out of bed? By the way, if you find this video helpful, just be awesome if you could click on that like button down there. It really helps our channel, if that's okay. So moving on to my next one, and I'm referring to this one as networking like a pro. Now, I'm not necessarily just talking about networking in the going to a networking meeting type of thing, which I know absolutely terrifies some people. I totally get it. I mean, I used to run networking events. I did it for years, like a decade. I did one networking event, property networking event. So I totally get it. But honestly, the best deals are often never advertised. The best deals are those deals that are talked about over a pint at the end of a networking event. So why wouldn't you want to go and give up just a little bit of time to a networking event like a property investors networking event or a progressive property networking event or an NRLA meeting, for example? Just go to them. Not only will you learn something, but you'll meet some really wonderful people, stay in the bar afterwards and maybe have a drink, and you will be amazed at how many opportunities come up in casual conversation. Oh, one other thing on this before I forget, make sure that you befriend the host at those events. Again, yeah, just befriend the host. They know everyone in that room. They know who's selling, who's not selling, who's got a problem property. And if you look after the host, maybe help them in some way, they will go and introduce you to that person. But it's not just about going to events live. You can do loads online. There's loads of ways that you can kind of network and connect online. There's obviously online auctions. There's obviously landlord forums. Goodness me, there's so much stuff out there on Facebook, Zooms. Just go out of your way to kind of connect and interact with people online. But you've also got to be telling everyone that you know that you're buying, that you're looking for opportunities. So tell your friends, and I know that might sound really cheesy, and know you might be thinking, I don't want to do that, but tell your friends. You don't know who's thinking about selling, or you don't know which one of your friends knows someone who's facing repossession. And I've had that. You don't know. So tell your friends, tell your family, tell your builder, tell your barber or your hairdresser, tell everyone, and you'll be amazed. One day you'll get a phone call saying, Hey, Tony, aren't you looking to buy a property? It's just that I know somewhere that might be an amazing opportunity for you. I've had that many times. You will have it too if you let everyone know. Connect with solicitors, connect with accountants. They're like the first people that find out the places are coming up for sale, aren't they? And if someone gives you a lead, if somebody makes it clear, look, this is an opportunity, don't automatically assume you've got to give them cash or you've got to give them some kind of commission. I know a lot of people will want that, and I know that's kind of going to be your go-to, and I totally get that. I'd like you to think of things a little bit differently. Rather than thinking money, think, how can I help this person? What can I do for this person that will help them, that maybe requires a little bit of my time? If you pause for a moment and forget about the obvious bit, the money bit, and ask yourself that alternative question, often that can be received in a far more powerful way than just giving them a few quid. So think about how you can actually help that person. Honestly, the more people you tell, the more deals you are going to be uncovering. Let's move on to my next one, which is you've got to use technology to get ahead. Now, that is a big statement, and goodness me, there's a world of stuff that we could talk about here when I talk about technology. But you've got to start using tech tools, as I like to refer to them. You know, there's amazing platforms out there like Lendlord. You may have heard of Property Filter. These are incredible pieces of software that will help you find opportunities. You've got to set alerts on these various platforms for things like key phrases like price reduced, motivated seller, for example. You've got to use landlord forums. You've got to use auction alerts, Facebook groups. The quicker you spot opportunities by using technology, and obviously that includes AI, and I've got to do a video on how to use AI in property now that I think about it. The quicker you spot opportunities, and jump on those opportunities before anyone else does, the better deals you're going to find. And technology just saves you time. You don't want to be spending 18 hours a day in the office banging away on your keyboard trying to find something. Using technology just saves you time, and it gets you to an opportunity before any of your competition does, frankly. Smart investors, they use data. They don't use guesswork. Honestly, the best deals go to proactive investors that are using a combination of different ways to actually source opportunities. The proactive investors are kind of combining online and offline. They're using tech and they're using contacts by kind of connecting with and networking with people both online and offline. They're putting time into this so that they start to uncover amazing opportunities that other kind of like more amateur investors just don't even get a look in. You could start small today. You could start to put some stuff in action today that means that within a week or two, something is put in front of you that you look at and go, well, that's just amazing. That is a deal. So please don't wait to start to put some of this stuff into action. The sooner you do, the sooner you'll start to get some amazing opportunities put under your nose. I really hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please be sure to subscribe, and that way you won't miss out on any future videos that are going to be coming from us. Thanks so much again for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.